Even if I was being helped by a white person you don't know, and I'm taking that, and instead of buying the Golf 6 and going to Konka, and I'm actually doing so great for the community, what's the problem?
You would accept funding from
I
anywhere?
wouldn't. I've rejected the funding.
Okay.
I've received offers of funding. Lux, what you're doing is so great. What can we help you with? And I've imagined you are rejecting funding just so that you can manage public perception, number one, because you don't want to be explaining the whole time that I've received X amount from this person.
Nkululeko on Cultr. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. And our special guest for today, Nhlanhla Lux. Lux, how are you doing, sir?
Big pleasure to be here on the special couch.
Yeah. A couple of people have been here already. I prefer speaking to interesting people, and I think that you're one of them as well.
Sure.
I said Lux, correct me. Which
Lux.
one?
I mean, some say Lux, and I don't mind.
Yeah, because I've heard you being
referred to as.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't correct anyone.
Yeah, listen, I never correct anybody. Let me actually, for the first time, your show will now get people to understand the truth. My name is not Dlamini. My surname is not Dlamini. But I allow the news to say Nhlanhla Lux Dlamini. I don't know where the hell they get it from, but I don't mind. Like, if you can call me blue, dog, cat, pink, it doesn't matter. As long as we're talking about what is important for the people and life continues, it's fine.
I suppose first things first, who are you? Who is Nhlanhla and what does he do?
Yeah, Nhlanhla Lux is the president of Soweto Parliament, and Nhlanhla Lux is a super activist, not just an ordinary activist. What that means is 24/7 we go beyond the call of duty, and we ensure that our leadership on the ground is both practical and successful. We are very far from politics. We are no means politicians, and we don't have any political ambitions as young people who are on the ground leading with us. Nhlanhla Lux is a guy from Soweto, born in Soweto, Ndofaya, Middlelands to be specific. Still lives in Soweto. Nhlanhla Lux is a guy that went to school. That's a St. David's old boy. Was there on a sports bursary, and went to Rao, flew some planes and helicopters, and obviously associated with the best and the best of both worlds, the poorest of people because you come from the township, and the richest of people because you had an opportunity to go to one of the best schools in the country. And so my phone book, if you take out my phone, I can call the guys that steal cars. I can call guys in prison on the same phone. I can call the guys that invest tech. I can call simply because of I found myself living in two worlds at one. At night, weekends, I'm in the township. During the day, I'm at St. David's with the wealthiest of people.
Yeah, I suppose that's been weaponized against you, or there's been attempts to weaponize that against you. What's your relationship with people that have money? People that we could say somewhat owners of industry in the country?
Yeah. Look, they've tried, especially the politicians. They don't understand that. How can a black child from Soweto be so effective? There must be someone behind them. If you actually just sit back and study our operations, when I leave Pinville, where I live, to go to Deep Kloof because there's a problem with electricity, and we are there the whole day protesting, giving leadership, providing leadership, calling the department of this and calling the premier's office. That exercise in a week doesn't cost me more than 400 rands. So are you really interested in who's funding me 400 rands? So our people are captured themselves. They are captured by our own black politicians. Because where these attacks are coming from, they're coming from these lousy political parties who claim to have branches on the ground when they don't. Because if these political parties had branches on the ground, we would see them leading our people on the ground. But you've got ordinary young people outside politics who are doing great for their communities, and they must be labeled. They must be labeled that Bo Johan Rupert are behind us. Bo, who else was on the
Rob Hersov.
Bo Rob Hersov are behind. Look, let me tell you something. It is actually how you see yourself. It's not. There's nothing to do with me. You think you are inadequate enough to make change without funding or influence of white people. That's your own doing. It's your own mental situation. We know that you can make change and make your community great with or without anybody. But on record, we don't get help by anyone. Even our own rich black people don't help us. So, my brother, even if I have an opportunity to say Nkululeko, my brother, even if we're helped by Bobo, Rob Hersov, and Boyo Han Rupert, and we are doing so great for the community, what's the problem? Even if I was being helped by a white person you don't know, and I'm taking that, and instead of buying the Golf 6 and going to Konka, and I'm actually doing so great for the community, what's the problem?
Are you then implying that you would accept funding from anyone?
I wouldn't. I've rejected the funding.
Okay.
I've received offers of funding. Lux, what you're doing is so great. What can we help you with? And I've imagined you are rejecting funding just so that you can manage public perception, number one, because you don't want to be explaining the whole time that I've received X amount from this person. So we are a cashless movement.
But political parties actually do have funding, and they've been forced by legislation now recently to actually
open their books.
To be transparent. Sure. And I don't think half of what we see on their books is actually anything.
Politicians are a bunch of liars. Yeah, not too many people can tell them, but we can, because we can't be subjected to a disciplinary hearing in the morning. We've gotten to where we are now through pure honesty and leadership on the ground. Those people are a bunch of liars. I don't care what color. I don't care how many of their people attack me on Twitter. We don't care for those things. We care for the real job being done on the ground. And as far as I've checked, as far as my mind can take me, they don't even compete when it comes to action time. They can talk all they want on their Twitters with their Twitter dogs. But when it comes to Magoko being raped, we the ones that come. When it comes to drugs being sold in the communities, we the ones that fight the drug dealers. We the ones that take bullets in our communities. If you go on my Instagram alone, you won't scroll more than 30 seconds without finding a video where we are being shot at, because we always have camera guys in all operations. Where can you see a politician on the ground, unless it's election time?
Yeah, for sure.
They just talk and talk rubbish. Just now, we were even outside the province for the first time, because the people are now demanding us all provinces. We were in Seshego, fighting drug dealing and people who are selling expired foods to our people. In Seshego. I don't know anyone in Seshego, but we're there. We're there taking the bullets on the ground. I'm telling you, gunshots went off because of it was that wild. Seshego. I can go to other examples, not that we are taking now people who come from Seshego as if I'm targeting this person that you are now thinking about. But to go to these restaurants and claim that you are doing great for the people, which people are you doing great for? Which people? So with us, it's either yes or no. There's no gray area. You do the right thing or wrong thing. There's no gray area.
I just want to pick up on something. I agree with you that politicians are captured one way or the other, whichever political party. They do have funding, and for the most part, they do lobby for their funders on behalf.
Oh, yes.
Now, when people are trying to have conversations with you, Rob or Rupert, are they not trying to do the same thing that they do to politics?
By the way,
with you to try to influence you, because they already have an influence in politics.
By the way, those people, they don't talk to me the way people say they talk to me. Let me tell you. If you go to a school like St. David's, and you are there from let's say a young example, standard 6, which is now at grade 8 to grade 12, and you are invited to Kevin's Braai. Do you know that Kevin, when you get to Kevin's Braai, you sing everyone your age, and you sing everyone who came with their dads. And guess who the dads are? The dad is the CEO of Investec. The dad is Rob Hersov. The dad is Mang. So what crime is it that we know those people? And when we relate to those people today, they actually look at me as that young boy in school uniform. Hey, Lux, how you doing? No, I'm fine. Hey man, we see you on TV, great work, no, fantastic. What you did for Maponya is amazing, well done, no, thank you, appreciate it. What you must just let us know what we can do to help the cause, and no, thank you very much, just like we do with many other people. But do we then take the phone and say that we then need APC? No, we don't. We don't do those things. So we don't have a formal relationship with these people. We have a peers relationship, if you understand what I mean, because they happen to be fathers or uncles of people.
So you're drawing a picture of them coincidentally being in the same event as you, because you went to school with some of their kids. So there's no isolated incident where you were with them because you had to have a conversation with them.
Do you know where that thing of the picture that I took with Rob? Sure. Do you know where that picture was? Go Investec. And if you go to Investec and run the cameras to say who was actually meeting Rob Hersov, it was Fikile Mbalula. Because now I'm in the building. I said in that Fixo Sharp. Rob says, if you want, you can join the meeting because you are here. And I'm there seeing one of the account manager ladies, because that's the people that I know from school.
People that you went to school with.
Yeah, from just us growing up together. And no, with pleasure. And Rob says to me, Lux, I said some hard things about Fikile. I'm sure if you are around, he might just not hit me as hard as he would if there was no one in the room. No problem. I mean, I'm here, so no problem. And because I've got such a clear, conscious mind, I didn't think it's a problem when at the end of it all, they say, no, can you take a picture for all time's sake? No problem. Let's take a picture. I even posted that picture on my social media. It wasn't a problem, by the way.
Oh, so it's circulating because you were the one who put it out there.
Long
it's not
time
like
ago.
Someone...
Nkululeko, my brother, let me tell you, there's no picture that was leaked. All the pictures that they put captions on, they take from my Instagram. So you see that these people are people who are lazy, number one. They take pictures and they distort information and they just put it out for people to consume. There's nothing to hide here.
You mentioned something interesting as I asked you who you are and what you do, and you said one of the things that you did was fly planes. I think that's fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you certified pilot? What happened to that dream? Are you still...
No, you can't. You can't continue to be flying. Whatever the industry pilot is wrong. You need to remain current.
So even with the tests are always current.
I'm going to make an example for our audience to understand. So if you're driving a car, it doesn't mean that because you've got a driver's license and you haven't been driving for 4 years, you can just start driving again. You need to remain current because the technologies change all the time.
For sure.
You'll kill people if you don't know
safety measures.
Safety measures.
Upgraded.
We need to. So I'm not current as we speak.
But that was one of the things that. You were a pilot.
Sure.
That's an interesting thing.
Well,
to know.
you can't all of a sudden stop. You are a pilot that is not current.
Oh shit!
Not that you were.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Sure. Yeah.
That's interesting though.
I mean, I had my own airline, dog. I had Native Airways. It's a company that I used to charter around people so I can make some money.
Do you want to share some of those experiences? I mean, you've flown people.
My figures all flew with Native Airways.
Sure.
ProKid flew all the time with Native Airways. See, I'm taking you back. So we've been, I mean, too many. I can give you a list of. I mean, if Native Airways still has its own social media, it's just that the last time we posted it was probably the last time we flew.
Yeah, I mean,
so you can have a look.
It's not every day that we get to have an opportunity to talk to someone as vast and widely experienced as you, and I think that's incredible. I like speaking to incredible, interesting people. So, would you have flown to a different country?
Yeah.
What are some of the pros and cons of flying and stuff like that?
Flying is very lonely, and that's why I know a lot of pilots will not appreciate this, but that's why some of the guys end up depressed, some going into drugs. It's a very lonely career. You make friends with what you call these people in hotel rooms, because you know that's what you do. You just live in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
And you're really not on the ground, and you're not living with your family, you're not seeing your friends. It gets very lonely, very, very lonely. And my character, I'm sure, I mean, it's not hard to see by now that I'm actually a people's person. I'm always amongst the people, and I'm always, I say we that's what we do. And I don't want to be stuck in a hotel room reading a book twice because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, so you closing a door on that at some point in the future, or you could return to flying?
No, look, it's knowledge. Knowledge is important. Education is important because no one can take it away from you.
Yeah.
So you never know when a time comes and you've run your race in community development and being an activist, and you've gone as far as you think your heart can allow, and your mind and your sanity can allow, because it's madness out here. And maybe we can go back, and maybe we go back as opening flight schools in Soweto, because that was my biggest dream. I mean, Soweto Airport was something that was on the verge of rolling out until politics took its course, and it got in the way of a young person's dream. And that's one of the reasons why actually we went so hard in trying to make a difference, because we knew the red tapes that are brought to you by politics if you are not a politician.
All right. You move around with quite a few people. Going back to your activism now.
A lot of people.
Yeah, you move around. And I saw outside, and I was like, oh, that's quite a few niggas. And I live in suburbia, and I'm like, whoa.
Sure.
You could have been stopped by the security companies. But anyways, I digress. Is there now more of a necessity, because of the work that you do, to move around with security personnel, or just people to be able to safeguard what you do?
Sure. Look, there's been many attempts on our lives. There's been many attempts of people trying to shift our focus, instill fear in our path. My mother receives calls to say that tell that boy to stop, otherwise you're going to kill him. And when it comes from your mother, they expect you to be soft, type of thing, So there's many attempts, and we're not going to take it lightly. That's why you see us moving around in serious numbers. Even if it's you are sent to come and shoot us, please be ready. Please be ready, because your head is hitting the pavement first. That we can promise you. We're not going to go out lightly. The work we do, it's a gift we are given to and sent to do by our own ancestors. It's not really within this realm. So it's even bigger than us. So when we put security in place to protect the journey, it's nothing to do with me as a person. It's actually to protect this journey, yes, Chabasaran, so meaning this journey that is there to emancipate our people.
All right. And what do you do exactly in Soweto? If someone is watching for the first time, Soweto Parliament, and just your movement over a course of a week, what do you do? What are you safeguarding there? What are you there? Whose rights are you standing up for?
Absolutely everyone, whether you subscribe to ANC, whether you subscribe to EFF, whether you subscribe to DA, as long as you are in Soweto Parliament, then is speaking for you, standing for you, fighting for you. For example, let's use the looting. It's an example that everyone knows.
Yeah.
When the police and law enforcement failed at protecting our infrastructure and our people's lives, because we lost people during the looting. When government was found wanting, not knowing what to do, the young people of Soweto Parliament came and said that, no, we are intervening. This is our area. We understand it. We are ready to die for it, because we're not only here to live for it. Then we took the stand and we protected 2,000 jobs. We saved the infrastructure of Maponya Mall. We saved the taxi industry millions of money, because you understand how economy runs. It's a ripple effect. There's other economies that
you can't get to work, so you lose your job.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we saved quite, and these are just ordinary young people. You know what I mean? So on a normal day, that's what would happen. We don't invite the problems.
Yeah, I did see or hear you taking a lot of calls. People from all over Soweto.
Oh yes,
with one problem
just waiting here. I received 10 calls.
Yeah.
From Dlamini, from Protea, it's incredible.
Yeah, just take us through like your day. Then what would people be calling you for?
Yeah, so look, electricity is 700 houses don't have electricity. Eskom is not taking us serious, and half the community doesn't have airtime to call. By the way, so how do we do this, Lux? Okay, we are coming. Okay, some call and say that, listen, there's a granny in our community. She's 99 years old. She just got raped, and we know these kids just were taken by the police, and now they're on the streets, and that is heartbreaking for the community. What do we do before we kill these people? We are coming. Another one that is immediate, that just happened just today, is people fighting for property in townships, because we don't have title deeds in our townships. When our granny dies, then the young people all fight for the title deed. This one wants to do this with the house, wants to open a spaza. Generally, the government is not even equipped to deal with those situations, because some people might see them as petty, but people lose their lives.
How would you mitigate that? Like an example like that, property. There's quarrel over your deceased mother's property between you and your brother.
So we don't use our own intelligence, to be honest with you. Sorry. We then invite the community, the older
people that know those people.
People that know those people, and then we have a sober conversation with people from the community who are also sober, because some people might have personal issues with people. You know, you have to have the skill to see.
They like one over the other.
Yeah, so you have to have the skill to see who's that, and we don't exclude. I mean, if we can include people from government, be it the councillor's office, councillor, come here. And we've got the police station, the nearest police station, which we always work with police. They come here, we talk about this issue. And from there, you're going to start picking up where the real problems are and how to solve it. And because people have now trusted your voice as a very sober voice of reason, whatever the solution is, generally, no one takes it personal. We all just stick to the solution and life goes on.
You mentioned, I'm so sorry to cut you. You mentioned something about electricity.
Yeah.
So Soweto and other like townships, of course, around the country have a problem, but particularly Soweto, a challenge with Eskom. There is a bill that's out there that Eskom says Soweto owes. Soweto Parliament, what are their thoughts about that? How should that be resolved?
Nonsense. For example, that bill of Eskom.
It's billions.
No, it's in billions. Is nonsense, because when do you get to a point where you charge, where you invoice the area? Eskom's model is such that you invoice the house. Why do we now have an area bill? When you have an area bill, you are suggesting that Lux, who is born in Soweto, who is now the workforce of Soweto, must inherit Nelson Mandela's bill. Why don't you take it to his grave? But a young person in Sentin doesn't inherit people's bills as a collective.
So let me just get this straight in the audience as well. So what's happening is that the whole area is being charged, as opposed to a breakdown of house by house. This is how much you owe.
Yes, hold people accountable. No one in Soweto is not saying that they don't want to pay for electricity. As a matter of fact, with Diepkloof, we use Diepkloof as a case study. Our people paid for the electricity. That's why they are reconnected now as we speak. That's the leadership that we provided on the ground. Mm-hmm. No one wants electricity for free in Soweto. I can say that on record. But we are not going to allow Eskom to abuse us. We're not going to be told you owe 6 billion. What is 6 billion? Can't even fathom 6 billion. No, I mean, we've never, ever discussed a budget of 6 billion in my life, but I'm owing 6 billion as a young person in Soweto. And Mandela Foundation. And so if you and I are from Soweto and we make it good in our lives, so we get decent jobs, we move to Sentin, that means we escaped the debt. Mm. Come on, that can't be it.
Let's talk about the power cuts as well. I suppose I've worked with a lot of people that from Soweto. I'm from Nyanga, Cape Town, so I may not understand the context, but I've worked with a lot of young people that are from Soweto, and someone will tell me that the power cuts there are like 3 times a day or 2 times a day. They are outside the scheduled load shedding. They have their own.
100%, my brother. So now and then you'll get them on proper scheduled time. I mean, we can't deny that. But most of the time, electricity in Soweto is just pathetic. It's not even worth opening a business that relies on electricity. Yeah. If I open an internet cafe, I then need to buy a generator, because the chances of it operating through for 365 days, no problem, is impossible. I just said impossible. I'm not exaggerating that. You see? So electricity in Soweto is a serious crisis.
Any engagement between Eskom, your organization, or even the community of Soweto, and whether or not they've, is there any resolution with any engagement that has happened?
Now there's a solution that we are personally enjoying on the ground, because it involves the Premier's office, our leadership on the ground, and Eskom's leadership. We're going to be filling up Dobsonville Stadium, I think it's in the coming week, and we're going to be addressing this thing one time, so that we don't have to move around communities, because we can't live like that. It can't be Diepkloof this week, Lamine next week, Protea next week, Mirrorlands next. Then we're just working electricity. Now we sitting down with the Premier's office, with Eskom, to come up with a proper solution that we're going to present to our people. And also education element to it, so that our people actually understand what is going on and not just be forced to consume the solution as it is because we are forcing it down the people's throats. So that's the type of solution that we are enjoying. But something that's also worth mentioning, to go back a little bit,
sure,
is that you must understand that the electricity infrastructure in townships, in Soweto, to be specific, was inherited. Our government hasn't done much to improve. Maybe it's not their job, it's Eskom's job, because Eskom is its own company, it's not a government company. So Eskom hasn't improved much of the infrastructure since inheriting it from the apartheid government. Only now we're seeing green boxes being put in, but I can't blame them. I can't say it's incompetence. Again, it's a ripple effect of a lot of things not being done right. That the population in Soweto is growing exponentially, but the infrastructure, I mean,
it's still the same.
There's
no response to the growth in the demographic
no response
and
to
the population.
100%, which causes big problems, even with the police stations. Do you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's meant to accommodate in 1985. 200,000 people. There's now 2 million people.
There's even more than that. Right now, Stats SA is sending people to count how many people so that we can quantify our population.
Sure.
Let me tell you something. On record, those people are taking chances. They're not even going to be counting half the population in Soweto or in the country. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Again, illegal foreigners.
Oh yeah, let's get into that, because I suppose there is a perception about you that even parties like Action SA, there are nuances within the conversation when you're having it, that this is your problem with it, or this is my problem with it, this is someone else's problem with illegal immigration. But then when the message gets lost in the way and you are labeled as xenophobic more than anything else, so there's no nuance, there's no space for us to learn what exactly are you saying. And parties like Action SA, what exactly are they saying? What are you guys doing in Soweto as it relates to spaza shops, Pakistani, and illegal foreigners just operating?
Look, before I even say a word, let me start by telling you that we don't have a problem with foreigners, African foreigners in particular. We have a problem with illegal foreigners, be it black and white or white, it doesn't matter. It is not our fault that in Soweto our immediate problem when we address illegal foreigners happens to be African foreigners. We can't be held ransom by people who use words such as xenophobia. When you're fighting for your own economy and the future of South Africa and the safety of the women and children, and they say because you are fighting for that you are xenophobic, I don't mind, call me xenophobic anytime. But I'm telling you now that we are not xenophobic, because they don't speak about the moments when we go out and protect businesses owned by our own African foreigners who are legal, who have the right paperwork to be in South Africa. When their businesses are attacked by criminal elements in Soweto, we are there as a security cluster, Soweto security cluster, to help them. We've been shot at Dube Hostel, shot at big time, helping foreigners. But no, we mustn't speak about that. We must only speak when they are speaking in protection of their economy, women and children. Then we must call them foreigners so that their human rights can come in and address them and push them to a corner so much that the illegal foreigners can continue doing the illegal activities in our space.
So what do you do then when you make the intervention? What do you do? Do you take people out of their homes to say, look, you do evict them?
We don't evict them, because let me show you the operations. The operations, we've been focusing on businesses. We then go with, let's use Para taxi rank as an example. Para was super clean after our operation. Some people have never seen Para that clean ever since they were born, because in 2000, right? So when we go to Para, we invite law enforcement, because if you look at, and you are honest in your observation, you look at every video that we have on the ground when we operate, there's always a policeman in the background, a JMPT in the background. So for people to say these guys are a group of lawlessness people, how do we then invite the police for us to go be lawless? You see what I mean? So we invite the police, we invite different government departments, immigration, and say, come, JMPD, this is your responsibility. People are trading on the pavement, and the bylaw is saying that we can't be on the pavement. the stalls at the Parataxi rank were designed and built by the city of Johannesburg to accommodate the vendors who are South African. So, but they were captured by illegal foreigners because majority of the people that we spoke to were not documented and therefore illegal, can't be in the country, but they are owning the stores. South Africans are mixed with other illegal foreigners on the pavement. So what we are fighting for is for people to respect and uphold the laws of the country.
I think that's pretty much clear, and it makes perfect sense. But then exactly what happens when you go and confront that situation?
So a lot of there's a lot of variables are at play here. Sometimes the illegal foreigners want to fight back, because they deem what we're doing as a fight when it's not. It's just upholding our own laws of the country. So, there's a video where an illegal foreigner was being chased because he pulled out a gun and said, "You guys can't tell us what. You must go wake up Mandela. Mandela said this country is for everyone who lives in it." So that special moment calls for a special reaction. You see, so you can't always think that every operation will be the same. It can never be the same. Sometimes the media is there, and the media is not neutral. It's just there to try pick up wrong things so that it can be on the newspaper. Those people are bothering people. Maybe they are paid by Human Rights Commission. I don't know. Because that Human Rights Commission as well is a big problem. I don't know which humans they are protecting. Because it's Human Rights Commission. They're supposed to be protecting South Africans because we are also humans. So right now, South Africans are dying left, right, and center. Go back to electricity. Without electricity, a granny doesn't have a fridge to put medication for her survival. Do you know if I can pull a stat of how many grannies die because of lack of electricity? How many young people in Soweto lose their jobs because they can't work from home? The laptops are not working because there's no electricity. Even if there's a generator, the network requires electricity for it to be up. The network is down.
Yeah, for sure.
You see? So you're making young people in Soweto incompetent. We're losing our jobs. Already we are in a poor community. Our grannies are dying. Where's the human rights to hold government accountable and ESCOM to say, sharp, what you are doing here? Man, you are going against people's rights.
Is it, so you said you were the antithesis of what politics are. You're not trying to be politicians. Yeah. You're not aligned to any party.
Yeah.
Is it the failure of government that you then have your types of organizations springing up and taking actions to their own hands?
I think it's people realizing that politics as a system is not the only solution. Because when we gave it an opportunity for it to be the only solution, it failed. So we then realized as young people that maybe we're not here to say politics must shift aside. Maybe we need people to be active within their own spaces to work with politics for the country to move forward. So we're at that point where we feel that we can't wait for someone to come and save our women and children. We can't wait for someone to come and save our communities. That's our responsibility. Because before democracy and before these systems came to be, if you understand ancient African history, we had systems that worked perfectly. And that's why we're power communities and power nations pre-colonization. So some of the little things that we are doing, we are borrowing from what our ancestors did. The example of the house that you asked me, how do we then resolve?
Yeah.
Call old people, that's not us being clever. It's exactly how our people used to resolve issues. Communal. Don't think that because when you've got a degree of this or you are in leadership of that when your mind is a super mind and it's better than everyone else's. A person that didn't go to school can have a better mind than you. So we include we have community-based solutions.
Yeah. Every organization, and this is the trap that a lot of political parties fall into. The way that life is designed is such that you need money to survive on a day-to-day basis. petrol, for food, for whatever.
Sure.
Soweto Parliament,
cashless.
Where does your funding come from? How are you able to go from one problem to another, solving one problem to another? Who funds you?
I said earlier on, there's something that we borrowed from our ancestors, which is community-based solutions. Rakazata. If a project is to do with electricity, those who are affected by electricity, make sure that we've got buses and we pop up enough money to go to Megawatt Park, if that's the command or that's the operation. If the operation is such that we are talking about sports and we need to go to the Department of Sports because there's no sports facilities, those interested in sports come in, but young people get into taxis and quantums and we go there. 90%, actually, let me be more specific, maybe 75% of the things that we need as resources are always there. The taxi industry is there, always willing to help us. Soweto Taxi Services, STS. We can get 5 taxis from Soweto during the day, as long as it's not within their peak hour, that take us to a certain point and bring us back. Owners don't mind because they understand the young people are making a difference. You see? So we are fighting the guys selling drugs in our communities. Then we are now saying that the mothers that know the pain of having a child that's hooked on drugs, they'll be there with us. And they'll be there to chip in their 10 rands. To understand how much it is 100 rand times 1,000 people. Because when we say it's a bad turnout, we've got 1,000 people. 100 rand times 1,000. So what funding do you need? What's important is that you need to make sure that the programs and operations are in line with the people's hearts. Then you'll get the support you need. As soon as you need the banks to support you, you must know that you are doing things beyond our own people's understanding. So therefore, you are doing it for yourself. Everything we do it for the community. And that's why the community understands and rises to support.
Are there any legal challenges to the work that you're doing?
Yeah.
Things that lend you, because I mean, we are YouTubers, and sometimes, funny enough, sometimes there's a celebrity that doesn't like what you said, and you have to go to court.
Yeah.
Any challenges that you're currently dealing with now?
Yeah, too many. I mean, look, tomorrow we are going to Ike Kumalo's court appearance hearing. We are going there to support him. So every time there might be an isolated incident, of someone with a camera showing one of our members maybe hitting back at someone, and that's all you captured. But someone else has a longer version of the video of these people hitting the member, and eventually the member gains strength to hit back and hits once, and just to make space for him or her to run away. But they've just captured that, and then they take them to court for that. We have to go to court. We don't have a choice. So we land in court because people are petty and people use the law as a weapon more than anything. We see it all the time. We see young people, we go to prisons. We deal with people in prisons. You can go to the social medias, you'll see it yourself. We talk in prisons. We encourage young people in prisons. Now, when you go to prisons, you also realize that half those people that are there are not actually supposed to be there. We should have better programs as government. You can't take a person that was defending himself or herself from a mob, and maybe because they are bigger, they hit harder, and they're now subjected to being in prison for 6 months. And when you look at the other side of the coin, is a 21-year-old. This person has a degree. This person could be put into a program and being brought back into rehabilitation outside, not inside. Because when you are inside the prisons, there's a lot that goes on that people don't speak about. You can go in there for 6 months but end up 6 years simply because you were saving your life, not because you were taking someone else's life. Just saving your life can lead you into being there longer, because you can't just stand there when people try to do funny things to you.
All right. You mentioned something very interesting, that JMPT, there are instances where they are with you and assist you, and the police as well.
Yeah.
Would you not say that this is a failure for them, their duty to serve and protect the communities? You've basically overtaken what they were supposed to do in the first place.
Yes, but I must say yes and no. Yes, because the job we're doing, they're supposed to be doing it, right? But if you look at the fine line of what their duties actually are, If you go to the police station, Nkululeko, my brother, now, and say Junior Khan is going to kill Lux tonight at 7 p.m. He was here at my house, drunk, and he had his gun and I couldn't take it. He's going to kill Lux, and maybe that 7 p.m. is in 2 hours' time. Do you know the cops can't arrest Junior Khan? What they can do is wait for him to kill Lux.
Yeah, and action has to happen before they react.
And then they must arrest Junior Khan. So do you see that we've got a gap that is...
What happens if you
a Bermuda Triangle?
What happens if you give them evidence? Is that not no cause for action? If a message was sent that I am going to kill you.
Yeah. So then it depends on the type of police you are dealing with. But I don't want to now.
Yeah, for
go
sure.
Into
that's
detail.
A fair point. Actually.
Yeah. So then
they have too much stuff to deal with. Than to deal with a hypothetical message.
Do you see what I mean? But when you come to us on the ground, you say, hey man, Junior Kanye is going to kill Lux. We can go to Lux's house and say, no, Junior Kanye is not going to kill Lux. We are waiting here. Where is he? When he comes, we apprehend him and perhaps take his gun and take him to the police station and say that this person was what. Yes, there might not be a charge, but we saved Lux's life. So that's the difference between people on the ground saving themselves versus waiting for someone to save you. The police are not going to save you. It's not their job to save you. The police deal with criminals. So you must first be killed. When you're lying there, then they'll deal with whoever killed you. That's the unfortunate, sad reality. Yes, there's VISPOL, meaning visibility Yamapodisa. Yeah. But it's there it's a campaign for that says we are here as police. So you dare kill this person, we'll arrest you. Not we are here to stop you from killing this person. You see? Because if someone has a legal firearm, you can stop them. If you know that I'm going to kill someone now, police can come and search me and say, this weapon, okay, license here. But they now can't stop me from continuing to walk into that direction. And when I get there, then I kill this person, then they must come back and arrest me. But there's nothing that can allow them to arrest me in between.
Yes.
That.
Speaking about killing, I suppose a danger exists with the work that you do too.
Yeah.
Especially with the guys that you work with.
Yeah.
There's constant and almost permanent danger. How are you dealing with that in terms of protecting yourselves?
Look, you can protect yourself for as much as you can. If you're going to die, you're going to die. That's what we've come to terms with. Dying is not a problem, my brother. Dying is not a problem. My life doesn't have more value than the country. So if you're in this position that we are in and you lead how we lead and you understand what we understand, that's when you lead to your full potential and the best of your ability, because you are not governed by fear of anything, including the fear of dying. Dying into any man. We're burying my dad past Thursday here. Dying is nothing. Dying is normal. Dying is like grass turning green in summer and brown in the winter. It's nature. You're going to die. You can be the most protected person in the world, and your mother makes you lunchbox and makes sure you don't play Kostrate. Hey, you're going to die, whether you like it or not. Some people in the township get shot 17 times, they live. Someone gets killed by one bullet, stray bullet. So we're not governed by death. The fear of death doesn't move us, not even 2 centimeters.
I suppose a lot can be learned with your movement by the rest of the South African communities. Of course, if they interpret it well, you don't want to go around harassing people that are selling stuff. Because sometimes you may not know whether they're here legally or not.
Sure.
What can you say to South African communities about taking back their communities?
A strong message is that we need as South Africans to protect, and where the community is lost, you need to take it back. You need to take it back within the boundaries of the law. Because you're not going to try address illegal issues illegally. Then you are wasting time. We address illegal issues within the boundaries of the law. So there's ways of making sure that the police are part and parcel of your operation, that the police are part and parcel of your planning, so that when whatever happens, you're protected because the police are on your side. It's not your opinion that people mustn't be on the pavement. It's the law. Educate yourselves on the law, on the bylaws, so that you can operate and articulate yourself within the frameworks of the law. Then, like us, you'll never find yourself in jail because you're not a bunch of thugs trying to cause problems. We are serious, super active citizens of South Africa with serious interest at heart about the future of this country and the well-being of our women and children.
How do you go about organizing these groupings to be able to take back their communities? I mean, you are with quite a few people here, and I know a thing or two about leadership, and I know that that could be very, very difficult to lead people. It's the most difficult thing. They have their own problems. Individually, someone else needs money, someone else is having a bad day, whatever. Like, how do people then organize themselves to be so efficient as you are and provide leadership to communities as you are doing?
50% it has to be somewhat natural and maybe, to go along the lines of a gift, because sometimes I don't know what energy we ride on. Sometimes we get exhausted. Sometimes you sleep in the car idling because you that moment where the garage doors open, the gate is open, all it needs for you to drive in, and you wake up 3 hours later in the same position. Like, what happened there? And we don't even touch even a drop of alcohol. It's not like you're drunk or anything. But the call comes in, and the granny guy is what? Then we are up and we're off when you're doing it. So half of it is honestly gifted, but the other half is the willingness and that being intentional. Once you've decided that you are intentional, you are deliberate about certain actions, then nothing is going to stop you. Motivation is temporary, man. It's temporary. You can be motivated for so long, but if it goes beyond motivation and it's deep in your heart, then that type of leadership doesn't become a problem. And naturally, you ask yourself, why do people listen to me? Because they don't have to listen to me. They can actually have a different opinion, but they listen. And it's over time that they've learned to listen because you've invested time in the community. So we've been doing this for about 10 years now. It's not an overnight celebrity situation. People know you come Maponya. Some know you got the previous, before Maponya, the ESCOM strike that we took to Megawatt Park because we were saying people mustn't damage property in Soweto. Let's take the problem to where the problem comes from. But when you know me, it doesn't mean that's when I was born. I have a history before you know me. We've been in the communities way, way longer than people knew us. And that's why for them it doesn't make sense why people are listening to these people. But for the community, they'll tell you, Nhlanhla Lux, some people will kill you for us. That's how deep it is. Because they know that we've never ever failed them. In the last 10 years, doesn't matter the time. When they call, we are there. It's who we are.
Let's wrap it up then. Yeah. The pilot in you.
Yeah.
When do you plan to resuscitate it? What will happen? What will it take in terms of change in the community for you to then go and pursue other things?
For me, I don't think that we're going to see change that is immediate, but we can see we can be comfortable with the momentum to getting towards the change. Once there's comfort in my mind, in my heart, beyond reasonable doubt, that we are heading towards the direction, and that comfort is met with other young people of the same caliber that have emerged, because we are not here to have one Lux here. We need to have 1,000 Luxes. So we need to make sure that we shape the minds of the young people so that they can take over from where we are and continue. We're not here to hog the space forever. Once we are comfortable that we've reached those 2 pillars, then we can say that can we now be a little bit selfish and go back to our own personal dreams that we once had, and then come back and build the Soweto airport in Soweto, open the flight school in Soweto, and then fly within our own resources and infrastructure in Soweto.
That's incredible.
Sure.
Looking forward to some of your projects in future.
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate the work that you're doing in the township. It's amazing. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Later.